pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Carlo?
Here.
Mr. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Condit?
Here.
Mr. Molina?
Here.
Mr. Silverston? Mr. Walter?
I'm here, faithful.
Approval of meeting minutes for January 27, 2015.
So moved.
Second. Roll call on approval of minutes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. Carlo?
Yes. Amendments to the agenda.
Yes, sir, I have 4 amendments. The first amendment is for ordinance number 10-2015, an ordinance amending section 191.02 of the codified ordinances of Reminderville, Ohio, to add the following definition of the pension for purposes of taxation.
Second. Roll call. Adding the first ordinance.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
I have resolution 15, 2015, a resolution to approve the change order for Trimore Corporation in the amount of $128.41 for work associated with the 2011 paving program and water line replacement project. $128.41, is that correct?
I think so. That's leftover stuff, right? Yes.
Yeah, that was, Terry will explain that during his report. That was, is that 15?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Second. Roll call on adding resolution 15.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
I have resolution 16, 2015, a resolution authorizing and directing the fire chief on behalf of the village of Reminderville to file a grant application with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation to be used for purchase of a striker power cot and load system.
Second. Roll call on adding resolution 16, 2015.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
And I have resolution 17, 2015. A resolution confirming the appointments of Roxanne Basil and Vicky Jeromos Blaney, Mike Cars, and Joe Phillips and Rodney Wiggins to the Charter Review Commission and declaring an emergency.
Second. Roll call on adding resolution 17. The reason we're doing that by emergency is because the first meeting is tomorrow night. Okay. And we
Well,
finally were able to get,
Yeah, we were able to get
the 5 we need.
Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina?
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go into reports. Mayor?
First, I want to thank everybody who attended last night for the volunteer dinner. Appreciation of that. I think everybody had a good time. And again, thank them for all their help in the past year that we've had. We had an interesting meeting today with Metro Parks and Ryan Holmes to try to put a trail system that is going to reach into Metro Parks. What's the center called? Do they got a name for it there?
It's the nature center.
Just nature. Oh, that's a good name. For the nature center. Ryan Holmes has completed the purchase of the rest of the vacant land that butts up against the service road that you see to the nature center. And when you come down Liberty Road, and there's our sign that says "Welcome to Reminderville." They've completed that purchase. They're going to be coming to us with another 105 units, home units in that area that they want to build. So with that and the one that they've already not quite completed, I think they'll have close to 200, or 195 or somewhere in that range of homes. Mr. Milstein donated land for the old abandoned lake bed. We'll be filing a 312, is that what they call it?
319.
I was close. 319. To redo the wetlands in that area, probably serpentine or try to hold back some water. And in the middle of all that, try to put some trails that'll connect. Hopefully a trailhead maybe off of Glenwood, inside the Ryan Homes area, and anywhere else we may like to put one. I think we could probably put one other area that for future to look at. Okay. So it'll be a good sized trail, but they're excited about trying to get us the money for doing it and grant funding and whatnot we can do. So it was very productive. They were very excited. I think it'll just add to Reminderville's recreation. That's all I got.
Thanks, Mayor.
That's good.
Mr. Carpenter.
The only thing I have is on ordinance 10, you'll see that's an ordinance to add a definition of pension into our tax code. This is something that was recommended by RITA, Regional Income Tax Agency. Definitely brought it to my attention, so that's in there. I don't think it really impacts anybody here, but it's a result of a couple of competing cases out there in the Ohio Supreme Court and Court of Appeals, so it doesn't need to go by emergency or anything, but it's something we should pass.
Thank you, sir. Engineering, Mr. T.
Okay, my report was on box. The first item in the discussion items is the Croc Esser and OHN Advisors merger. There was also a memo on box, kind of giving an intro to that merger. The OHN Advisors is a company that has 5 locations in Michigan, 2 in the Columbus area, and 1 in Nashville. Croc Esser has become their 9th location here in the Cleveland-Akron area, and the merger essentially takes Croc Esser from being a 20-something workforce firm to being a part of about a 270-person firm. Some of the services that the new company is able to offer is architecture, planning and landscaping architecture, in addition to construction and engineering and municipal engineering. And I don't know if everybody's had a chance to read that, if you have any questions about that I could answer, or if not, that I can pass on to Gene.
Everyone should have had a hard copy of it in their mailbox.
You said 9 locations in the Cleveland area?
No, 9 overall. We would be the 9th location. So we are the Cleveland-Akron location, in addition to the ones in Michigan and Columbus.
They got 2 in Columbus and the rest are up in Michigan.
So theoretically, if Croc Esser were to merge, and they were in charge of this northern Ohio area, we could potentially see more diversity
Yes.
in the areas of their service,
Yes.
meaning they would be servicing more clients.
Well, yes, overall, because the company reaches further now. But as far as the immediate impact, Gene's still going to be the engineer for Reminderville. I'm still going to be the community rep for Reminderville. One of the changes that we'll be seeing quickly would be last summer, Croc Esser had 7 or 8 inspectors to spread across its 8 communities. This summer we'll have 16. So the immediate impact is that we have more resources to bring in additional people to help with inspections, to help with design projects, and stuff of that nature. Any other questions about the merger? items on my report, Nautilus Trail. At the last meeting, it was announced that we were waiting on designs from Trimore so that we could submit to Cleveland Water. We have received those. They were submitted on February 2nd, and we're just waiting for Cleveland Water to release the funds for Nautilus Trail now. Crossings, street dedication, they responded to the engineering study. That was also placed on box for you guys to take a look at.
Paul, were you able to look at that? That
Um,
response from their?
Yeah, I looked at it I was in Florida, so I didn't look at it extremely closely.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see it. Do you have a question regarding it?
Well,
They're cutting out several items that we wanted them to take care of.
They're requesting to cut out several items that you want. It's still up to this council to approve or not approve what they can cut out or anything,
okay.
or at least whatever board will look at it, but ultimately council.
And that wasn't made clear to them when they responded. We just said that just because they're making a request to remove something, doesn't mean that it's automatically removed.
Yeah, there was a gentleman at the last council meeting, I think it was a president from the association or something,
Yes.
and he came in and talked to Gene, and I was standing there when he did, and Gene made it clear that you can ask for it, ask for whatever you want, and because someone else may have gotten it, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it.
Okay, and that's not, if we did something on another dedication, doesn't mean we have to do that.
Absolutely correct.
Okay.
It's a case-by-case thing.
Yeah, they want to cut out sidewalks and curbs.
Okay.
I know that from talking with Gene, the curbs that he addressed not being included in the Willowbrook portion, the only places that Willowbrook was not required to do the same thing was where they had asphalt. Where they actually had concrete, they had to do the integral curbing, so.
Is Gene going to give us a recommendation of whether or not he thinks we should accept the variance as they stated in their letter, or
Well, his recommendation was
just to
the
do it,
study.
period? Okay.
I think the variation or the variance would be up to council to decide.
You can certainly get a report from Gene as to why he wanted these things and what his response to the request would be. And, he can do it by memorandum or whatever before council decides to do anything.
Could we do that, Terry, have him address those points in that letter?
Yes.
Just so that we have it in front of us, whether, like Paul said, formally or anything else, just something to look at.
No, I guess it goes back to, if you want to make sure they have sidewalks, and
Yeah.
you just tell them,
Correct.
non-negotiable, as a village, as a council, you can tell them, like, that's not gonna happen, or, I mean, they try to say, like, up at Willowbrook, and there's areas that have the sidewalks and stuff, they don't wanna put any sidewalks in over there, correct?
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess having Gene say, don't do that, is not, that's just, if we don't want it to happen, we don't want it to happen,
Correct.
And, he's being a little difficult right now, the
Yes.
representative,
Yes.
I will tell you that, he's become a little strong.
Did you say he's coming on strong?
Well, the tone of the letter is
The tone.
kind of
His-
that way.
Dealing with it, he's, and I guess my thing is, I'm not gonna have somebody come in there and try to basically threaten me that you will do this, because you did it for them. Well, we didn't do it. Everything he has is pretty much the same thing that they did in Willowbrook, so I don't understand, because he didn't have to start with, he doesn't think that he should have to put it in. That's what Gene actually did what we asked him to do, give us what they had, and went from there. So,
And I will say, when he initially expressed his dislike with some of the items in the report, I redirected him to Gene for any follow-up, and he insisted on speaking with the mayor directly, and never spoke with Gene about it, so. He has been difficult about the whole issue.
he's trying to tell me that what council agreed to up there is not the same offer that they're getting over here. And it is the same, it's almost verbatim.
You know, it's the lay of the land, the way the houses are configured. And,
Sure.
you know, the topography, a lot of those things have to do with having a sidewalk.
It's hard for them to put sidewalks in, I understand that.
I mean, for us, for safety
Right.
issues, is something you could definitely not want to, you know, waive because of safety issues. You don't want people walking in the street necessarily, particularly kids, so,
Police department would prefer that they had sidewalks.
of course.
There you go, police department spoken.
I didn't hear what you said.
We would prefer that they have sidewalks.
I would prefer that they have sidewalks.
And plus, you know,
Everybody wants.
another issue with those sidewalks is it's a through street.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what I'm talking about, there are certain
yeah,
conditions that exist that maybe not necessitate it, but make it unusual to waive, like the requirement of the sidewalk.
okay.
Well, the other thing is this, is they're asking us for something. And, you know, if they're wanting us to take over the streets, then we can legitimately ask for these improvements.
Actually, that's the way it's supposed to be done. You know, they're supposed to make everything before we accept it.
Right.
You're actually supposed to bring them to standard, to our standards, which these never will be, really, before they're dedicated. We're actually giving them a big break the way it is to dedicate their streets.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
The next item, the Maryland change order, it's $128, and they're closing out the project, and it was just determined that they've gone $128 over the original limit. So, they've sent over the closeout paperwork and the change orders needed to make the full payment. California Street, I received an email today. The funding has been pushed from OPWC to small governments, and they requested additional information. We have until March 11th to file the additional information.
Did you forward that to Dave? I talked to her
Yes.
today, Linda. Okay.
And we're gonna have all that taken care of by the beginning of March, so. Pondbrook, there's no change at this time. Regatta and Windjammer, we do have some progress on this. We have a utility meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. on site. The pre-construction meeting's on the 24th here at this building, and they're scheduled to start the week of March 1st.
Terry, on that pre-construction meeting, and I know we awarded the contract to Trimore. What are we doing to ensure that we don't run into problems that we had on the East Nautilus Trail project, especially with the gas lines?
Well, I have invited Chief Plunkett to be at the pre-con meeting, which I know that he was involved when we had all the issues with the gas lines on Nautilus. One of the other changes is we're not doing the full road surface.
Right.
So it's less likely that they're gonna hit the gas lines because they're not.
And the ones they do hit will be feeder lines, so quite as bad.
So the nature of the project's a little bit different, plus they did have to go through the training session when they hit all the gas lines the first time.
Maybe we should have them go through that training class again with Dominion.
I had a project at one time in Delaware Ward, and they noted all of the utilities, and their notations were off. And we literally could not dig a hole without hitting the utility. And after spending numerous weekends without water, they passed an ordinance that we could not work on Fridays. Perhaps we should pass an ordinance that they shouldn't work past noon.
Or if it's gonna be cold.
The Harrington, they are currently working on the water lines over in the new phase of Harrington. Senior housing, there were some issues with their clean water permit, so they're on hold until they clear up some issues with clean water. But they are still scheduled to start work this month. And as far as building and zoning, the planning commission will have some meetings a meeting coming up. We have 2 submissions, Liberty Ledges Phase 4 and Liberty Ledges Phase 5.
Are those, we haven't scheduled, which is correct?
We have not. I've sent those out for reviews, and as soon as I have the reviews back, I'll schedule the meeting.
Can we jump back to Harrington real
Yes.
quick? And I know you can't see it, but snow falling throughout Harrington, wherever there's common property, sidewalks have not gone in, you know, beginning with phase 1 all the way up through 6 right now.
Yes.
Can you find out, or have you had any communication as to when those are gonna go in?
I do
Because,
not have,
you know, Gene reports, you report that, you know, we're wrapping up 4, we're wrapping up 5, but go back to 1 and 2 and we still have sidewalks not in.
yes. I do not have a response, but I have made a request to have a timeline set for when the sidewalks are gonna be installed in those areas,
Okay.
and I will update you guys. as soon as
All right,
I get a
thank you.
response.
Anything else for Terry? Thanks, Steve. Rec Center? Well,
Last Thursday, when I was coming in to check my mailbox, got a pleasant surprise because a conference call came in from Pontia. Talked to Mrs. Wardell and to the mayor. And they had questions in regard to their drawings to make sure that they were able to change things around to our satisfaction. We were assured that they're working diligently on getting those drawings done, and then when they do, they can go forward and get the pricing and the other things that go along with that. So they are making progress. I'm not sure exactly when they'll be ready to present here, but they are making progress, slow but sure. And I'm not sure, Mayor, did you have anything in regards to financing, any information come in?
No, everything's pulled over. What are they called now?
DFA?
The DFA is excited about doing the project. You know, one of the things that they're gonna do is remove the tax, so-called tax pledge, basically, from the, so, which is really good, I think. And instead of, the way it was gonna go before is the first thing that comes off the top is their payment. Now it's like, you make the payment, you know, get it, as opposed to before we make all of our other payments, that was gonna go there first.
Great, because that means they're in effect taking the risk.
They're taking the risk, yes, they are.
good news. Thanks, Walt.
I have nothing to report. I would be happy to take questions on ordinance 8, which I apologize was not in box until this afternoon. It is there now if you want to take a look. I don't need it to be passed by emergency.
Any questions? Don't need it? No.
It says emergency ordinance.
It does. I'm just used to that. I'm trying not to do it that way.
Thanks, Deborah.
Okay.
Chief Buck?
I have one thing to report, I think.
You prefer sidewalks?
What's that?
You prefer
We
sidewalks?
do, we prefer the sidewalks. The mayor's aware of it, but last Friday we executed a search warrant with 40 different agents here in the village on 2 different locations, and were able to secure and arrest the targets that we were trying to arrest. So, if anybody noticed 25 cars here, that's what they're here for.
Good job, Walt.
That's all I have to report.
Thank you. Assistant Fire Chief John.
I said that was a joke.
I do what Stacy tells me.
No further report from what you've been given in advance.
And
Unless there's questions about that power con, which also doesn't need to be passed by emergency. So
When are you gonna get it, you know?
we're still just applying for it.
Oh,
We've been evaluating.
but I thought you guys needed it no matter what, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice tool to have, so. For those of you who don't know, it's
Yeah,
something.
explain, and the advantage is the workers' comp.
Exactly, it's something that's been trending in the fire service lately. Most people believe you get hurt with fires and critical scenes like that, but it's actually the daily lifting of patients up and down, in and out of the cot, slipping on the ice with the cot, especially in this weather right now. So this cot, well, the current cot we have right now is a manual load and unload. So the firefighters have to physically take it out, bear the weight of the patient, lower it to the ground, raise it, and so forth. This cot is a simple press of the button. It raises the legs up and loads the patient in the back of the ambulance for us. I think something up to 750 to 1,000 pounds, all on its own. So it completely takes the stress off of us and keeps people from getting injured on the job. So.
Do insurance companies offer discounts? If you have that, is that somewhere we can say?
They might, you'd have to speak with your casualty insurer on that.
Oh, I'll ask.
Okay.
Love insurance.
I'm sure it goes under comp,
It
it's
can't
not
be
a matter.
Yeah. Thanks, Jack.
You know, I think the reason why he's asking is if a victim or a patient falls out, you might have a liability claim. That's why you were asking. But I don't think it would reduce it significantly. But it might.
Because if they fall,
Theirs is workers' comp.
yeah, but if they
The other
fall,
one,
you lose the patient.
Yeah, currently that can easily happen.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't plow their driveways, it's embarrassing time. This actually physically, once you get it locked onto the cot, onto the squad, it's
not
hands-free, yeah. So,
All right, thank you.
I did have one other thing. The law director is in possession of a contract from an architect. I know we talked about the remodel at the police department. We went out and tried to find architects everywhere. We only got one to respond to us. That contract's with the law director right now. He's going to review it. We're going to talk about it. But I just want to kind of let you know that that's moving along.
Okay.
And we would, of course, support the cot because we don't want the firefighters to be any more stressed out than they already are from working out, sleeping, and cooking lunch. So that's
wow. The only stress would be for your police officers parking and blocking the driveway for us.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. But this new thing will load itself, so it wouldn't matter if the car's there.
You guys want to take it outside?
If Tom was there, I'd have said that.
Are you guys done? We can adjourn.
I can call it
this
night.
and all right, architectural board of review.
No report, but our next meeting will be the 23rd at 7 o'clock, that's Monday.
Planning and zoning? No report. Board of zoning appeals? Finance?
Finance went today at 6:30. We recommended payments in the amount of $107,476.35. Our next meeting will be in 2 weeks, preceding this one. That's it.
Thanks. Table?
We meet next week, Finance Committee to initiate planning of 2015-2016 budget.
Communications? New website's up and running. It's pretty awesome. I hope
New
everyone's
pictures, looks
had
nice.
a chance to play on it.
I did notice that clerk council and fiscal officers' pictures, are not
Those
existing.
are coming.
I know.
Can we get our web address on our letterhead?
What?
Can we get our web address on our letterhead?
Sure.
Anything else? Long-term community development, no report, Parks and Rec.
No report, our next meeting will be next Wednesday, the 18th, at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Records,
No report.
seniors.
Seniors had lunch today at Mavis Winkles and had 18 people in attendance. And the next breakfast will be the 25th at 10 o'clock at Bob Evans in Twinsburg.
And Jay.
Jed's next meeting is Tuesday, March 3rd, 7 o'clock here at the Village Hall.
Thank you. For the legislation,
Just wanted to talk about that. But
we
I
heard
thought
anything from them?
that it had changed, but there's no legislation from the JED or from here.
We passed as it's turning out, a preliminary budget. We did it in September for the JED board. Oh no, the police was the one in December. They're giving us a different amount for what the JED officer is gonna cost. And they just sent Deb here's the amount. She was like, wait a minute, this doesn't match what we approved. So, we're gonna have to discuss that at our next meeting. Did you go ahead and pay what we did approve, or is everything on hold?
I did not, the explanation was that it just changed and it's like they're expecting payment. But my question is, do I need different legislation from the JED board? And because now we don't officially have to appropriate for the agency fund, does this?
Why would we have to do that? Why would we have to do something if it's already, you have a set amount that you've already approved that you could spend on JED?
Correct, but now they're coming to us saying it should be more.
I understand it, but we've already approved like an amount, and if they go over it, then we would have to, like at the end, if the budget is too much, then we would have to go appropriate money.
Okay.
Anybody follow me?
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. So
What's the difference? How much difference?
3,000.
it's like 3,800, our portion, the total
For
is
the
like
year?
14,000 for the year. So,
And they're saying that they renegotiated the contract and that's why it's gone up?
no, her response was basically what, they didn't know the exact amount when we approved the budget originally in December.
Did they approve a raise for somebody?
Yeah, their contract was completely redone, which we knew.
After you had approved a preliminary amount,
No,
and I think
They
what
just-
Sam is saying is the way to go.
right,
All right, make sure I understand that, so we would go ahead and pay what we approved, and then they can ask us to amend at the end of the year if they're short.
that's the way you want us to proceed? Sam, is that what you're saying?
Well,
You can pick whatever you want, I just.
yeah, we've
you know,
we've
set amount.
appropriated X amount of dollars, which will cover us, say, through October. So let's, just pay the bill, and this gives them a chance to get their legislation in order and make the changes and get it over to us, and then we can do an adjustment.
Okay.
There's a change that the JED board made, or
No.
JED board hasn't done anything.
Okay,
JED board doesn't even know about it technically. I know about it because Deborah sent me the invoice to just make sure she was reading it correctly.
the invoice came from the sheriff's department?
No, from Twinsburg Township.
We used the figures that the township gave us, so I mean, it was their,
Right,
it seems to me it was their error.
right. The way I look at it, if they could back up the higher amount, I'm not, just because they didn't maybe figure it out right.
Yeah, the
But
state-
waiting until November, that's fine too.
Well, that, and I think it's a difference in just sending it out and saying, just pay us the money, like.
Well, she probably didn't know what was approved, to be honest, she's just, but, to me, it's not worth, like I don't know what word I used, causing a rift over
I
300
agree,
bucks.
it's not worth it, but they still could have handled it.
But we still need to at least have the legislation to back it up to make it official. Okay, so
And we also need a written statement as to what it's all about.
right, well, they have that, she went into quite a list of detailed things, how she came up with the amount. All right, so I guess we're saying pay the amount we approved, and then
Okay,
on March 3rd, we'll discuss.
okay, thank you.
And this way, there's no urgency on
Yeah, at least they're covered for a
your
while.
part
Yeah.
to do it, because we're good till October, November, whatever the rate's done. Thanks. Ordinance 8, 2015, an emergency ordinance to make appropriation adjustments for the 2015 village budget, first reading, and it is going to first reading.
So we can delete the word emergency.
No, leave it in the title.
Okay, ordinance 9, 2015, an ordinance to increase the hourly rate of Service Department temporary employee John Arnold Jr. effective February 15th, 2015, and declaring an emergency first reading. Ordinance 10/2015, an ordinance amending section 191.02 of the codified ordinances of Reminderville, Ohio, to add the definition of pension for purposes of taxation, first reading. Resolution 11/2015, a resolution authorizing a $2,000 donation to the Taste of Twinsburg event, first reading. Resolution 12/2015, a resolution authorizing a $100 donation to the Twinsburg After Prom, first reading. Resolution 13/2015, a resolution authorizing a $100 donation to the Aurora After Prom Committee, first reading. Resolution 14/2015, a resolution to hire Lawrence Kalau as a temporary snowplow operator for the village of Reminderville and declaring an emergency, first reading. Resolution 15/2015, a resolution to approve the change order for Trimore Corporation in the amount of $128.41 for work associated with the 2011 paving program and water line replacement project, first reading, and this will go to stay at first reading this evening. Resolution 16/2015, a resolution authorizing and directing the fire chief on behalf of the village of Reminderville to file a grant application with the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation to be used for the purchase of a striker power cot and load system, first reading. Resolution 17/2015, a resolution confirming the appointments of Roxanne Basil, Vicky Jeromus Blaney, Mike Okars, Joe Phillips, and Rodney Wiggins to the Charter Review Commission and declaring an emergency.
You mentioned their first meeting's tomorrow?
Yes.
Is it, what time and where is it at?
It's gonna be here, it's at 7 o'clock, and I'm just gonna go over everything with them. Introductions, they have to elect a chairperson, a vice chair, go over, we're really not gonna start really reviewing until the second meeting. Every meeting is public, and if you guys want them to look at anything, if you have any suggestions for them to look at anything, you can come to a meeting, or you can put it in writing.
How often are you planning?
We're gonna come up with a schedule.
Okay, so you don't know.
They have to have whatever proposals they want to give to council by June 23rd, so that way it's ready if it goes to 3 readings by August 1st. So as long as we're done by June 23rd.
7 o'clock tomorrow, and it's here.
Yes.
The old business? Any old business? New business?
It's been brought to me several times, the concern about cars parked on the street during snow events. I mean, people don't like cars parked all year round, but specifically because the snowplows can't plow the streets properly. So I kind of brought it up with Mario and Paul and the chief about what we can do to fix this. So I guess to me it was a lot simpler in my head than it really is. So I don't know if you.
It's not a simple process. You have to create the bureau, get approval, different various, different levels of approval. Finally, with the municipal court and so has to approve everything along the way. It's a long process, time-wise. Probably the longest thing will be just waiting for approvals more than anything. Jeff and I, or Chief Buck and I, thought we had it resolved pretty much because the clerks, the Stowe Municipal Court said that they would take care of most of it. But now today, you're bringing up some other stuff that you're having problems with. So it's really gonna be up to council to just say, hey, let's go with it or not go with it. And, you know, I suggested to Tom to take a straw vote maybe at this, to go ahead and move ahead with a parking bureau, which could take some time, it's not gonna happen for a while, to get all the approvals and everything in place. But
Are there costs associated with creating the bureau?
costs to me, and possibly costs to the court for their approvals.
staffing cost to me.
But I thought you were talking about beforehand to get it, but yeah, there
Well,
would be
before
staffing
and
costs.
after.
There would definitely be costs and bondings, for anyone who's going to handle money.
Who will be getting the money from the presumably issued parking tickets? Where will the money end up?
In the parking bureau,
At the police station.
that would be the most
At the village.
logical.
Well, wherever, but it's somewhere, within.
It's not
police
within
limits.
scope.
Correct. Still will enforce, if someone gets a parking ticket and, doesn't pay, Stowe would be involved in, with warrants and stuff.
But those would be recoverable expenses, presuming they're so.
They would be court costs.
Yeah.
I can call for a straw vote right now, just to get an idea.
See what people's.
What do you think?
I think we should do it.
Can you explain better what the parking bureau is gonna be made up of? I'm not sure I'm
The
following.
police department's gonna run out and,
Codified ordinance
Ticket.
versus ORC.
they're gonna put tickets on people's cars that are parking illegally under, the village's codified ordinances. Those cases would then be subject to the jurisdiction of the parking bureau. The parking bureau then will accept money for the payment on the tickets and account for the money and so on and so forth. When someone does not pay, whoever's in charge of the parking bureau will forward that information to the Stowe Municipal Court, who will then enforce this.
So the parking bureau would be made up of somebody appointed,
Our police department.
It's not gonna consist of the police department. It's gonna be handled more likely by someone that is in the police department. Someone is going to be a clerk, for lack of a better term.
Is that like what
Clerk-
Rosita
Like
used
a
to do?
clerk of courts,
Is that like what Rosita used to do?
yes.
I'm still not sure why this is more efficient than if you give a parking ticket now.
We can't give a parking ticket now for any codified ordinance violation,
Okay.
only for state code.
I have concerns with the safety issue, because I tell you, I've heard some complaints also, and it doesn't have anything to do with the snow. But people think that, they're gonna have trouble getting fire engines down their street. I've heard that.
Any number of times I've come down, we got a trail and, there was a car parked on the opposite curb and people proceeding in that direction think that they have the right of way to swerve out into oncoming traffic to pass the parked car, and they don't.
In that case, that might actually be a legally parked vehicle, if it's during the daytime or whatever.
Right.
That's really the driver of the other vehicle, it's not a parking issue.
Right, it is a driver of the other vehicle, but if we get some cars off the street, perhaps. they
That
have
car
no-
still wouldn't be ticketed though.
No, it wouldn't, right. If people know that if they leave their car on the street after hours or into a snow ban, they may get into the habit of parking in driveways.
Yes. Right.
You guys are on the road all the time, do you think this would be a helpful tool? Or
Sure, yes. Whatever you guys prefer. We'll enforce it either way. We brought this to council 10 or 12 years ago, and council decided not to do it, so I haven't brought it back. It's whatever you decide.
I'm definitely open to consider it.
I definitely am.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have for new business.
Any other new, yes, sir.
I know that you guys have already budgeted for 2015 for a new police cruiser, but it's gotta be ordered by March, so do you want me to go ahead with that budget item and start the process through Ford?
I would say yes.
Okay.
That way we stay on pace like with previous years now.
Wanna make sure.
Any other new business? I have one item. On the table, some of you might have seen this little flyer from Brentwood, an opportunity to spend some time with one of the councilmen from Solon up at Brentwood Golf Course today. And
You did it.
I was working there. But they're offering, they've always had cross-country skiing on the golf course. Now they have brand-new equipment that you can rent. The information is on here. Stacy's going to post this to the website if she hasn't already. They told us we can use this the way it's written, that we won't get in trouble. There's also on the second page, there's a list of classes, because they will be giving workshops for beginners and intermediates on cross-country skiing. I think it'll just give our residents something to do in the winter when normally you can't get outside. If you feel up to it and you're healthy enough, strap on some keys for not too expensive, and go out and enjoy the brisk cold air. When we were out there working today, and there was quite a few people out on the course skiing, so it is pretty popular. That's all I have. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call on adjournment?
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Condit?
Yes.
Mr. Molina,
Yes.
Mr. Walter?
Yes.
Mr. Carlo?
Yes.
We have our council meeting next. You'll have an opportunity to come at the. We have the committee as a whole, then we have the